Hey guys, this is Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and we are back with another, um, I guess you can say MCU Disney Plus TV show review episode for you guys. And this Disney Plus TV show we are talking about that recently released as of Thanksgiving Eve, and that is Hawkeye. Hawkeye, out of most of the Disney Plus shows, when it was first announced, I wasn't really, I guess you can say, looking forward to it. I was like, interesting. What is it going to be about? And then when we got more details, the fact that Kate Bishop's going to be a thing in this, it's like, okay, this could be somewhat entertaining, somewhat interesting. So, yeah, I see this show as the show that's gonna probably maybe retire the Hawkeye character as we know it, so then the mantle can be passed on to Kate Bishop, because we know Kate Bishop is another person who takes the mantle of Hawkeye. She just calls herself Kate Bishop, and stuff like that. But from the first two episodes, because we got two episodes released today, I honestly enjoyed it. I liked it. And I definitely do like the chemistry between Jeremy Renner and what's her face? I'm trying to crap. Haley Steinfeld. I really do like their character personalities bumping off each other. It was nice to see and everything, and I definitely do like it. I also do find it funny that the setting is in a Christmas setting. It would honestly, not trying to say I would have done this, but I probably would have moved this over to Christmas time. Probably, like, I would have put this in December. Would have made a lot more sense. But hey, then again, we're in the end of November. It's close to December anyways, so we'll eventually, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and seemingly, like, I don't know what the main overarching story is going to be about, because so far we know is it's just get the run. We got the Ronin suit, and it's like now it's taking down this gang and everything. I forgot the gang's name, but taking down this gang. But we don't really have a main story point on what we're supposed to do and stuff like that. Really, the only main story point I see is probably like what's his whole deal with this gang, and then is Kate's soon to be stepfather pulling the strings all behind this whole thing and everything, which again, it is pretty interesting to say the least. So yeah, so let's really get into the story. So let's talk about episode 1 first. Now, episode 1 essentially just in the grand scheme of things is introducing Kate Bishop as a character. In terms of Hawkeye, what we see here, Hawkeye is kind of just chillaxing with his family. They go to like this musical that is centered around, I guess you can say, the events of Avengers 1, the very first Avengers movie, and it's just a musical and everything and stuff like that. In the meantime, Hawkeye's kind of after the whole events after Avengers Endgame. We don't know when this takes place. It takes place probably, well, actually, what am I talking about? I forgot what year. I think we're like in the year 2024 or something like that in the MCU. So it's seemingly this storyline takes place sometime near the end of 2020 in December near the end of 2024 in the MCU timeline. So I'm guessing if you like to watch the MCU stuff in chronological order, you know where you would probably put this movie. It'd definitely be one of the movies put out to the end of obviously the MCU, yearly of the 2014 timeline and stuff like that. But he just kind of I guess you can say he's kind of just chilling and everything, chilling with his two sons and his daughter. And he's kind of he's kind of looking at I guess you can say he's looking at this actress who's playing as Black Widow in the musical, and he kind of just thinks, and we clearly see he kind of hasn't gotten over the death of Black Widow from Avengers Endgame, and everything there. So clearly that's still somewhat eating up at him, because we even see his daughter kind of talking about it to him later on about Nat or Natasha, which we also now get clarification. I think his family was there at the memorial service or something like that. Well, that was morally for Tony Stark, but they probably obviously honored Natasha as well. But we also kind of get confirmation that his family knows about what happened to Black Widow and everything and all that stuff right then and there. But he's kind of just like chilling, and he kind of hasn't gotten over. He seems like a semi-retired hero that kind of just wants to live in the sunset and not have any involvement. I wouldn't blame him, because Tony's dead, Nat's dead. Captain America, he went back to his own timeline, so now he's an old man. So it's like the remnants of the Avengers team that are still left from the very first one are really him, Thor, and Hulk. So we know Thor, he's off traveling with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Hulk, well, he's just essentially just doing things behind the scenes and everything. Now we don't know if Hulk in this alliteration right now still has his arm broken. We did see in the She-Hulk trailer that his arm seemed to be fine and everything, but we'll see from that what happens then. But he's kind of just living the life of just trying to have a normal life and just kind of sit back. Now he wants to spend Christmas with his family, which is the one thing he promised his daughter that he would do. Now we later find out events and circumstances come up to where he might have to miss celebrating Christmas with his family. Now in terms of the Kate Bishop storyline, we start all the way back to 2012, and we kind of don't have really a mix-up. It's funny because we don't really have a mix-up. I think Marvel learned their lesson from the Spider-Man Homecoming timeline situation, because we know that they mess up the entire timeline and everything. But they made sure when they shifted over to present day, they said just present day. We're not going to go by years or anything. They probably should have did that for Spider-Man Homecoming. So they learned, and Marvel learned the lesson there. But we see a much younger Kate Bishop, who's a kid, with her dad and her mother Eleanor Bishop, and she kind of overhears him, and apparently she was supposed to move out of New York, but in the meantime, obviously, on that day, special day, in 2012 in MCU, is the fact that that's when Loki and the Chitauri made their attack, and the Avengers obviously fought in the Battle of New York. Well, eventually it happens to where her house gets affected, and it's looking like, oh, her parents are dead, but no, the only person that comes out of dead in her family is her father. Her mother is still alive. She almost actually gets killed by Chitauri, but she sees Hawkeye actually save her, and that's how she kind of takes an intrigue in Hawkeye. We later find out when she meets him, Hawkeye's her favorite Avenger and everything. So we go to present day. We kind of get a nice, intro to the whole series, of where we kind of see what Bishop's doing, what Kate Bishop was doing in animated format. She was doing judo training, martial arts and stuff like that, archery and everything and stuff like that. And then we got over to present day. She actually literally made a bet with her friends or something like that, and she freaking knocks down this bell tower and this clock tower that destroys. She eventually gets back home. Her mom's kind of a little bit upset, but her mom's kind of lenient and stuff like that. She's like, okay. We know that her mom, Eleanor Bishop, runs a very high-tech security, company and stuff like that. And lo and behold, she's introduced to when Kate gets back, she's introduced to this guy named Jack. Now, eventually, she later finds out that, Jack and her mom, Eleanor, are actually engaged, and they're planning on getting married. And stuff like that. And it kind of throws Kate a little bit off guard, and she doesn't like this and everything. I guess I wouldn't blame her. One reason is, her mom never told her that she was seeing somebody. And two, her mom never told her that she was getting engaged. She hears this from obviously one of Jack's family members. I forgot his name. It started with an A or something like that. It was Armanda or something like that. And there's 7 generations of these clowns. And and she gets kind of upset about her mom, of like, why didn't you tell me and stuff like that, about this. I will say this about Haley Steinfeld. I do like her. I definitely did like her. I loved what she did in Bumblebee when she was one of the main human characters in Bumblebee. I definitely do like her as Kate Bishop. She's very energetic. You know, she comes across as obviously a young adult kid who's like kind of getting away and over their head and should probably be staying out of trouble, that shouldn't be doing this. But we see that Kate Bishop finds herself into trouble, which eventually puts her on this hit list for this gang that's actively like trying to kill her and stuff like that. But I do like her personality. I think she's very sarcastic to some extent and very entertaining. She just brings a lot of life to this character, and honestly I know it's not a fan favorite game in just the community for video games, especially when it comes to superheroes, Marvel Avengers. She kind of reminds me of freaking the Kate Bishop from Marvel Avengers game. She kind of has that same little spunk and everything. The only difference is in that game is the Kate Bishop in the game is a much older Kate Bishop compared to this one here. But I kind of saw the same little, spunky, hyperactive traits from the game here. So I definitely do like Haley Steinfeld's interpretation. I'll talk more about what Hawkeye's kind of role is and how I like it. It's kind of the grizzly old veteran trying to teach her the ropes and, trying to stay out of trouble and everything. But we see in episode one that, well, Kate gets herself into trouble way too much. Obviously when she's first introduced, and then what we later see near the tail end of the first episode, where she literally, after all this news, she tries to get some fresh air. She follows this dog eventually, and she ends up going to this underground auction, place going on, which we later find out they're actually selling, Clint's old weapons, like the Ronin sword, and even before things got hectic with the gang showing up out of nowhere, had their Ronin, obviously, outfit and everything, the Ronin costume. And everything. Now, the thing too is we eventually, when the gang starts attacking, Kate puts on the Ronin costume and everything, and well, the gang thinks it's Ronin. So we also find out that Hawkeye, or Clint, when he was Ronin, he had a beef with this gang and everything and stuff like that of what he was doing. So eventually it comes to the point, Kate manages to fight her way out of there, and she's trying to escape from the gang and everything. This is when Hawkeye takes his family back to this little condo area. He sees on the news that somebody's wearing the Ronin costume, and everything. So eventually what happens is Kate gets surrounded by the gang again, but Hawkeye shows up to save her, and then he kind of is like, who are you? And then he pulls up the mask, and he sees that obviously it's Kate and everything. That's when we jump into episode 2. So episode 2 is just kind of the centralization around Kate and Clint getting to know each other and everything. So eventually gets to the point where, Clint's like, okay, you're gonna have to give me all that stuff. Leave the whole thing on. So they eventually get back to her apartment and everything, and he's asking Kate Bishop all his questions and stuff like that. Also, we see the dog. I think the dog's name is Buddy or something like that. I forgot what the dog's name is for Hawkeye's dog, like the comics was. But Clint's like, they didn't get your name or anything. They didn't freaking see your face and everything and stuff like that. And obviously Kate's like, no, of course. So in the meantime too, this is all happening. Now in the whole auction scene, Jack couldn't buy the Ronin sword because for some reason he has some infatuation with getting all these swords and everything. But eventually when the whole gang attack happens, he eventually takes the sword. Now, eventually what actually happens is when Kate's kind of out searching and running around, she eventually sees, Jack's, I believe, uncle or something like that. Yeah, his uncle is actually dead on the floor, with, literally dead on the floor. And it's like, okay, who did this and everything? So that's obviously a mystery, where it's like, okay, who killed this who killed one of the Armandas and stuff like that? Could it be Jack? Could it not? Stuff like that. We're just going to find out as the show progresses on, and everything. But that's the whole thing. So obviously her mother's kind of worried sick about her and everything of what's going on. Eventually what happens is, like I said, going back to the Clint whole thing, she's overjoyed that Hawkeye's, in her apartment complex and everything. And he's like, okay, as long as they don't know anything, you should be good. But lo and behold, it's not good, because actually the gang followed her, because now they know her name because they tracked her based on the whole thing here. So now the gang knows who she is and everything, and they're kind of screwed and everything. So they eventually find a way to get out of it. Kate takes Hawkeye and her back to her aunt's apartment, and they kind of chillax. Now, Hawkeye's whole episode here, in this episode, was just finding the Ronin suit and getting it back. Now, they had to leave the Ronin suit in our apartment when the apartment was on fire, because they just couldn't reach it because of the flames and everything. So what happens is Hawkeye has to go tooth and nail. He eventually sees this guy wearing it, and he's like, okay, oh, great. And he goes to guessing this freaking type of freaking fair thing where I guess people are pretending to be like freaking Vikings or something like that. And he literally has to play pretend fighting to get the Ronin costume off this guy, which honestly I found hilarious, because Hawkeye's just like, oh god. And he's like, this is so stupid. He's like, I'm not doing it and everything. Now I just still don't. Now my thing is this: I don't understand, because we see several references. We see several people, actually come up to him, who he comes up to, and they're like, oh, we know who you are. You're Hawkeye. You're a superhero and everything. And it's like, the one thing I will say I did not like is the fact, especially in this part of the scene, of I'm like, the dude's an Avenger. He's a superhero. It's like, why does he have to play by the rules? And it's like, I know their whole, Soviet Accords and everything are a thing here still, but it's like, he's an Avenger. He's Hawkeye. He shouldn't have to listen to you. If all Hawkeye has to say, listen, I have some business to attend to, that's Avengers level stuff here. So could you please move out the way? I have to do this. I don't know why he just doesn't say that. I hate when, especially now, when it's like these heroes coming into the thing, all they have to say is like, I'm an Avenger. You see me on the Avengers. How about with the Avengers? Move out the way. I need to do Avengers level business. I don't know why they just don't say that. And people can understand. Now, I don't understand why the girl just didn't understand, because she was like, I know who you are, but I can't let you by. Otherwise, I'm going to call the cops. I'm like, but he's an Avenger. Why do you have to call the cops on him? What is he going to do? He's not going to cause trouble. That's the one thing I hate, especially when it comes to the MCUs, because it's like, if you're a freaking Avenger and you're just walking around in public, it's like, and you say this is Avenger business, I guarantee people would understand, but okay. Eventually he plays pretend fight. He gets the costume back, and he actually calls up his wife. Now, he actually told his wife everything that's happened, the fact about this gang. So obviously he at some point told his wife about his whole Ronin business and everything when he was Ronin, and everything. Now she seems like she seemed like maybe she's definitely cool and stuff like that. So he's like, this whole issue, it might mess up the plans, so I might not be able to get there in time for Christmas and everything. But obviously his wife's like, don't worry, take him as much time as needed if you need to take care of this. Eventually, it's seemingly like he's going to meet up with the gang to try to do something and talk with their boss. And he ends up getting captured. Now, on the Kate Bishop side of things, eventually it gets to the point where she's kind of getting a little bit antsy and everything. She goes to her mom's business company, and Jack's there and everything. Now, she's convinced that, well, Jack is the person that is doing all this, sending the gang after her, and she's the person that killed his uncle and everything, because, well, rich guy. And then two, we saw in the last episode that, well, apparently her mother's in kind of hot waters, with the standpoint that it seemingly she's not liked by this whole family, because we see in the first episode, Jack's uncle's like, you should probably keep your wife, you should have probably never had Eleanor, into this whole thing and everything. So Kate's thinking like, he's a freaking ruthless killer and everything. You don't need to be around him. and everything. So it gets even more kind of feisty at dinner, and just kind of be trying to be understanding. He's like yada yada yada. Now again, like I said, I don't know if Jack is gonna. There's gonna be some plot twists again, but what we've seen, typically from what the last few Marvel Disney Plus TV shows, especially Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that's also kind of what this show is giving vibes with the buddy cop between, Clint and Kate and stuff like that. It definitely could make sense that Jack's truly behind this whole thing and everything. It's seemingly like he has some sort of hand in this, and everything. There's a reason why he's collecting all these dang swords for some apparent reason. And it's only, very interesting that he's marrying probably one of the most richest women in the world, in Eleanor Bishop and everything. So they have like a little fencing contest, and Kate thinks he's holding back because she's winning like every time, but he actually goes to target at his face and he easily blocks it, and he's like, see, he's lying and everything. Eventually comes to the point where Eleanor and Kate have a talk and everything, and Kate's just telling her mom, I can't trust him, I'm sorry. And you get this interesting thing where Jack comes down and he's like, care for a candy? And Kate's just looking at this and she's like, I'm not going to take this, because she probably thinks, he's probably trying to poison him or poison her and everything. Now he ends up eating it. We don't know if there was a poisoned candy or something, because, stuff like that. But that's the last we see. So we're kind of left with the speculation that, okay, maybe Jack is like some sort of culprit behind everything here. So that storyline is kind of left untreated and stuff like that. But in terms of anything, she's trying to get a hold of Hawkeye to tell Hawkeye everything that's going on and everything, because she actually gave her a phone. But she gets this message saying, Hawkeye's not able to answer the phone here. She eventually tracks his phone, and eventually what happens is we see in the last bit of episode 2, Hawkeye's trying to ask for the boss and everything, but they're not giving it to him, and they're just like, okay, where's Kate Bishop? We need to know Kate Bishop. And Hawkeye's like, I just want to see your boss. And it gets to the point he actually, frees himself, and they're like, you stay back. But all of a sudden, Kate Bishop comes crashing down, and then the episode ends off with them both being captured and everything. And we see this one girl in this box and room saying they've both been captured and everything. They got Kate Bishop and everything, and that's kind of it. And she just kind of closes the door, and that's kind of where the episode ends off. So I don't know who this character is. I think this character is, because I was just looking at the cast list to find out the names. I think she's Echo, which the thing is, Echo, which the thing is, we know that Echo is obviously getting a Disney Plus TV show announced, because it got announced in the Disney Plus like announcement stuff and everything. So the cast, I'm guessing that's Echo. I don't know much about Echo at all, but it's very interesting. I definitely enjoyed these 2 episodes. I think this series is a 6-episode season, so it's gonna be very interesting to see what's gonna happen in the next couple of episodes. So yeah, but it's gonna be very interesting to see how this is going on. Like I said, I don't know if this is gonna be like Jeremy Renner's like last ride as Hawkeye, or if he's gonna appear in any more, like, I guess you would say, Avengers movie or something like that alongside Kate Bishop. All I guess I'm knowing is this is gonna maybe be the show. If this is, Hawkeye's last little stand, then that's when this is probably the series that's gonna hand Kate Bishop off to be the new Hawkeye, which, stuff like that. But it's gonna be very interesting to see where it's going. I definitely did enjoy my time with this, and I can't wait to see more of, I guess you can say, more of Hawkeye every Wednesday. But other than that, I'm gonna get it for guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'm gonna try on this video. Until then, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. So put in this in the comment section your thoughts on Hawkeye. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Or stuff like that. Anyways, I'm gonna get it for guys. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'm trying this video. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.